I have pressed it, Donna.
Yeah, that's fine. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this AND session. This one promises to be a very busy session. We know we've got lots of people joined us for this conversation because it's about access to work. And this is why we wanted to do these sessions here at AND, because we want to be able to share expertise with you guys, and then you can come back and ask questions. This is the recorded part of the session, and I'm just going to give an introduction to and is an introduction to Graham, and then we'll get chatting. Okay, so AND is a coalition. We are the Adult Network, Neurodiversity and Dyslexia, and we are made up of Succeed with Dyslexia, and I'm Donna, I'm a SWD ambassador. It's great to be with you all this evening. It's also made up of the Adults Dyslexia Centre, which is Sue Floor MBE. You are the manager there, aren't you, Sue? Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, we've got Sue McKenna, who's the chair of Hampshire Dyslexia Association. So Hampshire are part of the coalition. Hi, Sue. I think we've got lots of glitches tonight, Sue.
Sorry.
we saw
Hello,
you
everybody.
wave.
Good evening from Hampshire.
Thank you, Sue. And last but certainly not least, one of my favourite parts of the world, it's Yorkshire Rose Dyslexia Association with the chair, Pat Payne. Hi, Pat.
Hi.
Hello there. So, guys, we've got lots of glitches and we apologise in advance because we're not going to see wonderful Graham this evening. We're just going to hear his words of wisdom because of technical issues, but it won't stop us. We go on. So I'm going to introduce Graham and then we're going to start chatting. So, my goodness, Graham's resume is so very long, but in a nutshell, he is a neurodiversity and hidden disability specialist. And of course, he is an access to work expert. And that's why we wanted him in on this conversation this evening. He's a workplace needs assessor. He is an assistive technology trainer and a workplace coach. So again, really well placed to answer our questions. So Graham, we know that you're having some technical difficulties, but we can hear you. So good evening.
Hi, thank you for asking me along. It's quite a privilege to be here and help out.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. Thank you. So let's get started then. Graham, I said that your resume is huge, and obviously you're so well placed to have this conversation. Tell us a little bit about how you got into this area of expertise then, and about your organisation NATTC as well, please.
I started at the beginning, I guess, in around about 2010. I had a bit of an incident at work where I needed some support, and I wanted a 5-page executive summary summarised into 2 pages, and someone called me an idiot and stupid because why couldn't I do that myself? And my nemesis is writing. My nemesis is not selling multi-million-pound deals to Goldman Sachs and large universities and corporate entities. I was working for a multi-billion-dollar company at the time in the IT industry with Cisco and Microsoft. And in a nutshell, I decided to leave the industry after 21 years because I just had enough. I didn't be called stupid. I just got tired of the industry, I guess. Unfortunately, it really played with my mental health. I needed to take some time off. I went into the mental health services and they diagnosed me with cyclothemia. They put me on uppers and downwards for 9 years, and in a nutshell, it was a wrong diagnosis, and I've actually going back through diagnosis in recent years is ADHD, coupled with dyslexia, which I already knew about anyway, and autism. So I started that journey probably around about 2016-ish, 2014. Maybe. I got into assistive technology. I decided to become an expert in it, and delivered that into the DSA market for quite a few years as freelance, and then decided that in 2019 I needed to expand into the workplace and understand better what the challenges of the workplace. And 2020 came along, the pandemic hit, and we were all thrown out the window and told that we had no work because we were all freelance. The market's quite heavily freelance, Donna, as you probably know yourself.
Yeah.
So I decided to start a company.
Yeah.
And that company morphed into NATTC, October 22, and the whole emphasis and passion behind it is to support people in the workplace. I've been on the journey of access to work myself, but a colleague of mine, Chris Catt, and I decided that we would make people's lives a lot easier around the application process, around the knowledge, because what you don't know, and you don't know what to get, and you don't know where to go and get it. And the assessments that were being offered by Access to Work Fit for Purpose. So you were getting equipment like dictaphones, stuff like that, £700-800 worth of expenditure, stuff you were getting given that actually doesn't meet the IT standards of the organisation for one reason or another. Nothing was joined up, and I decided that had to change because people were arriving on training sessions totally unprepared. Technology sometimes wasn't even installed. They were so stressed out and overwhelmed that the training wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for them. We had to sort lots of problems out. We had to go through, and I had to assess them for their needs, which became part of the assistive technology onboarding for those individuals, which we do as sort of standard now. And some of these people had been through like 2 years worth of turmoil just to get to me to do the training.
Yeah.
So our NATTC stands for Neurodiversity assessments around diagnosing SPLDs, screening for autism, ADHD. We've got a project with ADHD 360 through Right of Choose NHS contract. And we can get someone seen, if they triage through us, because this is only open to the MOD in blue light, and it's very hush-hush because we only announced it a month ago in-house, to the MOD. We can get them into a 3-week diagnosis for ADHD anywhere in the UK.
Yeah. Thank you, Graham. I mean, wow, what a story about how you set up, why you've set up, lived experiences at the very heart of what you do, and it was the inspiration, as you say, for why you created NATTC. So thank you for everything that you do, because I know how much you give back to the community. So with that in mind, you've talked a little bit there, of course, about access to work. This is a big question, so brace yourself. Can you explain access to work? Because there will be some folks live with us this evening or listening to this conversation on the recording that's going to go on all our YouTube channels. Can you explain what access to work is for?
Work is for more than reasonable adjustments that actually cost something. So they're there to take the burden of cost away from the employer or self-employed, so that they can invest in assistive technology, workplace coaching, awareness training of different disabilities. It's not just neurodiversity, obviously. You don't need a diagnosis. You do need to earn £6,400 plus per year, or you need a business plan if you're self-employed, or going into employment. The usual grants around neurodiversity are £5,000 or £6,000. Does that help to start with, Donna?
It does. It's great because
not do too much.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And I appreciate you taking us step by step. So it's a government scheme, isn't it, Graham? And people, if this is new to folks, they can go and almost Google it, and that portal opens. If you could talk a little bit about, how on the back of this, if people think, right, I want to go and investigate, where can they find out more beyond reaching out to ADC or Yorkshire Rose or Hampshire or you guys at NATTC?
So they can come to us, and we've got information. Most of it's visual. We'll start turning into videos very soon because we've got 2 different faces. We've got male and female face, and a lot of the information we can distribute out. We offer a free case manager so that they can come and be holistically assessed by us, understand their role, their challenges, and show them options for different categories for report writing, for spelling checking, for not too wordy, not concise. Did I mention note taking? Where they can summarize and get the key action points from a bit of AI from Jamworks. For transcription as they talk over Teams, which can be face-to-face as well. And a whole host of other different types of assistive technology, including e-ink writing pads that work. So you have a strategy around note-taking. There's mind mapping type technology to help you with report writing or brainstorming ideas. And there's stimming tools. I use one, my daughter uses one, and they're really good. They help you concentrate. They even help take pain away. I've got sciatica, which can get really bad sometimes.
Yeah.
And using these like Jamboard stimming devices, wow, it helps you concentrate on the meeting and takes the pain away from that meeting as well.
Yeah,
so there's
brilliant.
a whole host of things, including LexiLens actually, which actually is they've proven some science around 85% of people with dyslexia have two dominant eyes. So by using this eyewear that's actually going to go on screens and TVs and smartphones, by using the frequency and the balance, and I've seen it firsthand, I cannot read, right? I literally can't read. I can't process the information. I can't take it in. I can't remember it. I need to reread it 3 or 4 times. I tested it on Tuesday. I could read. I've got a
Brilliant.
library of books and information. I can't read. I can now.
Yeah,
And I can
brilliant.
take that information in. And then there's things like Orcam and a lot of other technology.
Yeah.
So we can help with all of that. There's workplace coaching that can help give you executive functioning strategies around time management, around organisation and note-taking, understanding your dyslexia journey and how that affects you in the workplace, in confidence, in emotions, emotional dysregulation, or if you've got ADHD, then I guess rejection sensitive dysphoria, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Then you've got awareness around the different disabilities. You've got impaired vision, impaired hearing, physical ergonomics. You've got line manager coaching is really important, especially in the workplace, employee workplace, because if you're not helping the line manager understand the individual, then 6 months later it's not really going to help.
Yeah. Thanks, Graham. That's such a
job aids, and all of
yeah,
that.
and job aids. Yeah, this. So again, I know we've been interested this evening in this job aids. Can you just explain what job aid is for people who aren't sure, and why that maybe some of the terminology's changed from support worker to job aid and so on?
I don't know the answer to what has changed. You'll get some advisors saying support worker. You'll get some advisors saying job aid.
Yeah.
Some even put personal assistant on it. It all means the same thing. It's someone to support you, to body double you, to do some stuff that you find really difficult, like accounting or bookkeeping, or making sure your invoices are going out, or organising your calendar, putting in different colour codes, or a whole host of things that can help with that. I mean, I've got one. I get 20 hours a week. And it's a saviour. I literally saved my life back in December 22. I couldn't live without a support worker.
Yeah. Thanks, Graham. I think, again, it's interesting how terminology changes, I guess, depending on the profession who's putting together the report. But it's nice and clear that you've made it. These are the same ideas, somebody who's there to support you. Back to kind of some of the basic questions, and it's been so insightful so far. Thank you so much. So how does an access to work application work? If you can talk us through, if somebody, if this is somebody's found out information that I think, right, I'm going to go forward and find out. And what you've shared here with the technology and the support is, there's a lot out there. How can somebody access that, please, Graham, via the application? What do we do to make that application?
them really simply by going in, starting at the beginning, filling in your name, saying what the disability is. So let's just say dyslexia, describing how that impacts you in the workplace, yeah, and the challenges, but keep it simple. Bullet point it. You don't need to write War and Peace, right? They're not looking for an essay. They're looking for basic information, right? So if you put the basics down, then that's all you need to do. Do it straight away, because you're going to have to wait 12 to 14 weeks, although there are rumours internally, and they've actually stated this back in December last year, that they're trying to bring that down to 6 weeks. But recently I've seen it increase to 14 weeks from 12 over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So not sure what's going on there. When it gets to, do you know what you want? Let's say assisted technology. Let's say you've done no research, just go, no, no, no. Right? But you want some, but you say, no, I don't know what I want. And then you get to the support worker and you say, well, I know I need a coach. Would you know what you need? Well, they usually sign off against 20 hours, no problem whatsoever. So if you say, yeah, 20 hours, it's not full, I don't need it forever, so I only need it for a certain amount of time, i.e. 20 weeks, and you put 1 hour a week down. That's job done. You've got a workplace coach on the way to you. Support work is a little bit more different, so difficult. I'll come back to that in a minute. So keep saying no, 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 no. Support worker, if you want one, put it in. Again, I'll come back to that later. And then disabilities or support that you need. Do you need a taxi? Do you need help getting there? Do you need mental health support? So if you do, just say yes. You don't need to write anything against that either. And if you don't know, just say I don't know. No. Your application could be done in 10 minutes, like that. And I just suggest that's all you do. You don't need to do any more. You don't need to tell them what you want at that stage. Right? If you do, you'll make your life complicated. Right? So just get on, get the application in, and then you can start looking. Right? And there's a whole load of places out there, assisted technology, just look it up. Or if you want to make your life easier, come to us. Right? And we've got a whole host of information, videos. You can go to our website, go to the Access to Work page. You can book a meeting with me straight away, or one of my colleagues, right? Because the team's increased recently.
So, Graham, sorry, go on. I know it's tricky because we can't see each other, but you make it sound so simple, which is brilliant. So when folks come to you then after you say, do it, you can do it in 10 minutes if you're not being too prescriptive about what you need. What's that bit of the journey then that you're taking those individuals on who've reached out and said, right, I've put my application in. What's the next stage?
Well, the next stage is to come and talk to us, and then we'll help you know what you want. We'll go through like a mini assessment with you. Now, what we won't do is we won't document it. We won't write a report, right? Because then you're talking about, Donna, and you know this one, a workplace needs assessment. Right?
Yes.
That comes out with a full report, full recommendations, why, what, and how, and fully costed, so that actually all you have to do then is send that straight into Access to Work. And usually, because I can't guarantee it, usually in all of our experience, they will sign off anything. I've even got a Microsoft Surface Pro through. Right now, that's like Rolls Royce. I got one through based on the fact that my computer needed to support a lot of technologies, to support me, right, and my disabilities, not my business. So if you make it a business case, then you won't get it. If you make it a disability case, you will get it. So it's the way you word it. And it needs to be for the disability to support you as an individual so that you can thrive in the workplace. That's the whole point of Access to Work.
Yeah.
So, God, my ADHD brain's getting really distracted now. Hang on. So we can help you in that journey. We can show you, we can send you some information. You can click on a couple of little videos. You can take yourself through it. You can actually decide yourself what you want after some advice from us. You can then come back to us, go back through it, debate it. And then what we will do then at that stage is we will provide you with a quote with everything in it. And if you decided to get remarkable, we can provide you remarkable as well now, right? So there's nothing we can't help you with. And we'll provide that all within a quotation, free of charge. All of this is free that I'm talking about, apart from if you wanted a workplace needs assessment. And then when the advisor comes to you, you can say, he'll say or she'll say, what do you want? Do you know what you want? Or am I going to take you down one of our assessment routes, right? Because there are two assessment routes. One is Read in partnership and one is Maximus, okay? If you get Maximus, you'll get a better assessment, in my opinion. That's only my opinion, though. All right? If you go down the other route, you could end up with someone being paid £50 to do an assessment that takes around about 2.5 to 3 hours, right? Because the first 40 minutes is online with the individual, and it's not an assessment, Donna. It's not a workplace needs assessment.
Right.
It's someone at the end of a phone asking you a few questions, picking some vanilla flavored solutions. I've been in there, right, advocating for somebody and another person and someone else. And I've debated some of the things that they've made choices on, and they've stopped full in their tracks when I said, no, that won't help. You need to do this with this technology. And they couldn't provide it because guess what? Some of the people that they recommend are part of the same group. They're recommending solutions in there, right? So that then when the recommendations come through, those organizations are at the top of the list and they get the business. So that's why they're only paying them £50 an hour, £50 for an assessment, and you're not getting an assessment. The recommendations are just recommendations. It's to give you a grant of, let's say, £1 to have, I don't know, note taking, for example, under exaggeration or over exaggeration in that context. But the £1 is all you can spend. You can't spend £1 and a penny. You can spend 99p. But you'll only get 99p back, and you can place that order with anybody you like. You do not have to place it with the recommended organisation at the top of that list for that item. Does that make sense?
It does, thank you. And thank you for your honesty. And I know you've said, in your opinions and your experience, but it's really insightful to hear you talk like this. Pat, I know you've got your hand up. So Graham, we've got Pat with us, chair of Yorkshire Dyslexia Association. Pat, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yes, I would very much, Graham. My main role is the helpline, and I get lots of adults coming and wanting help, and I'm not really sure where to send them and how. One thing I'd like, you're talking here about workplace needs assessment, which we know about. What would I have a young man at the minute who knows he's dyslexic. He had an assessment some time ago, but he hasn't got the report. What do I suggest he does? Go and get another full diagnosis or a workplace needs assessment?
Well, he already knows he's dyslexic.
He does, but there's no evidence.
Access to work do not need evidence. You just say I'm dyslexic. They will ask you twice. The advisors need their own awareness training. It depends what side of the bed they get out of, and it depends where in the country they live. So what advice you're going to get. You'll get a varied amount of advice. The staff guidebook is 150 pages, but you do not need to have a diagnosis. The point I'm saying is they are not all experienced and offering the same advice and level of expertise amongst the team, and you'll actually get people turning around to you saying, are you sure you're disabled? Right, it's really...
that's really hard. That's really hard for the man on the street to be able to unpick that. And this is what we need to know, so we can direct them and say, this is what you need to say with confidence. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
You can point them in our direction. To be perfectly honest with you, I've advocated for people because they've been burnt out and they've had autistic meltdowns, right? Just by speaking to Access to Work. Because Access to Work, if you turn around to them and say, okay, well, I want you to email me everything, they'll phone you.
We've heard that earlier tonight, yeah. So where are you based, Graham? Where are you actually based? Online, I know, but physically.
Personally, I'm based in Bristol, but we've got 25 people in the team now based all over the UK.
Right, that's good. Yeah, good to know.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Really interesting comments then. And again, thanks, Graham, for your honesty here. I suppose the last question then, I know you've already said that you welcome folks to reach out to you, and thank you for that. As I say, I know you give a lot back to the community. I suppose, can you share some stories, I guess is the word, of where you've seen access to work really help somebody, where you've took them through maybe sometimes a very tense journey, but then you've seen it make a real difference for folks?
Yeah, we've got one that's just finished actually, a vet that was 6 months into a performance and not getting on very well. Unfortunately, he killed a couple of animals because of a dyspraxia.
Oh,
literally,
gosh.
right? And what was happening in her mind, you'd have to speak to Pete because he can tell you all the the technical stuff of what was going on, etc., with the dyspraxia. But and she's ADHD as well. But in a nutshell, we took her through a workplace needs assessment because they were really worried. I mean, the organisation, the veterinary service, really worried. But vets are like gold dust. Right, so they didn't want to get rid of her. They wanted to help in any way they could. So we were recommended to come in and do a workplace needs assessment, which we then informed them about access to work so they could get funding. We took them down that road, and they immediately got coaching put in place. Pete actually coached her because of his background in surgery and veterinary and what have you. Came out today, and she's just a different person. Yeah, she's just totally a different person. And she does work for a charity as well, apparently. And because of all the great work that Pete's done to help her, and she's not having any of those issues. A lot of it was stress related. Yeah. So the more that happens with dyspraxia, the worse that the stress happens, the worse that then causes, the worse the exec function and the processing, and all of that had an impact on her, and it was getting worse. Yeah. So it was impacting her mental health as well. Yeah. But and I guess,
Graham, this is the pattern that you see a lot, isn't it? The practical impacts then on the person's well-being, their mental health, and so on. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think there's a message of hope there, isn't there, for people who might be in the middle of this journey and finding it really tough. I guess it's just to persevere.
Yeah, absolutely. Determination, persevere. I mean, to be honest with you, one of my passions around performance is I don't see the point, I don't see the need, and it just makes it worse. And you're just in a vicious circle, and you'd be lucky if you get out the back end of it. Okay. As soon as you go into performance, you're on the rocky road to a horrible place. Yeah. And it needs to be resolved before then. Yeah. So everybody needs to have a screener in the workplace. So we've got a screener plus going to market within 3 months, right? And it will be a screener like you've never seen before. And that needs to be done at the beginning of everyone's journey on recruitment or existing within organizations, so that you're then able to support and help them in the workplace. Everyone's neurodiverse to a degree of one or another. We're just at different levels of that spectrum. Yeah, there's no neurotypical. The word doesn't exist. It was coined in the early 2000s by a journalist to explain the difference between neurodiversity and everybody else.
Really interesting. Thank you. Well, Graham, we're going to pause it there whilst we're on the recording, because we want to make sure that anybody listening to this, we leave them in a good place. So if I can just ask you to hold those thinking for a moment, because we're going to say goodbye to the folks who are listening to this on the recording, and I want to share the contact details, because yes, you know, we knew that this issue is a huge one that a lot of you as adults will be wanting to find out more about, or you're on the journey and, you know, you're finding it a real struggle, or you don't know which way to turn. There is a lot of help out there, as Graham says, at NATTC, but of course also at the local associations that we have in our coalition. So I'm just going to, folks, if it's okay with everybody, share the contact details whilst we're all together of the coalition. So let me just Hopefully you guys can see this. Can you see? Not yet. Okay, this is the bit I absolutely hate, guys, isn't it? The technology, especially this evening, it's been quite glitchy.
Yeah.
Can you guys see that?
Yes, thank you,
Brilliant.
Donna.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
thank
fine.
you, Sue. So let me enlarge it so we can all see. So here we have the Adult Dyslexia Centre's helpline and an email address, Yorkshire Rose. And you heard Pat this evening saying she spends a lot of time on that helpline. Support for you guys in that part of the world. We have Hampshire Dyslexia Association's helpline email address, and we have info@Succeed address as well. We don't have a helpline at Succeed, but we have wonderful friends and allies in the community that we can signpost to, including NATTC, I hasten to add. So I'm going to stop sharing that now, and I'm going to just ask the team if they've got a few.
Sorry, I didn't get to get all that information down.
That's okay, Carol, because when we stop recording, we'll reshare it. So please don't worry about that. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody on the recording though, Carol, and then I'll reshare it whilst we have a chat. But thank you for letting me know. No problem whatsoever. So as Carol said, you know, we're going to stop the recording and we'll carry on chatting with Carol. So please do join us for future sessions with Anne, because we're in 2 parts. At the moment, we're on the recording now. So before we say goodbye, can I come to the associations and see if you've got any words of wisdom to share about the conversation we've been having this evening, guys? It's been pretty hectic. This is a real issue, access to work, isn't it, Sue Flor?
I don't think it's an issue. I think it needs to be taken cautiously, not jumped in like our first, callers seemed to do. He was quite emotive, is that word? It's just as Graham said, don't give too much information, just clear points, and don't worry too much about it, and go to him if you want help. So I think that was really helpful to say that, and I know his contact details are in the chat. So. Don't feel you're alone. There's always somebody that can help you, and take it slowly. Don't be put on the spot. I think dyslexics need time to think and ask for the questions to be put in writing so you can think about them.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sue. Yeah, so step by step. Sue McKenna, anything to add from Hampshire?
Yes, I was an access to work assessor for quite a few years, but I'm also an access to work user because I'm deaf and in one ear. And one of the things I always tell my helpline callers is, before you make that call, I refer them to the government website, but before you make that call, have your last pay slip ready, because I think I'm right in saying, Graham, is that you must be a taxpayer, you must earn over a certain amount, and you will need your revenue tax reference number. So have that ready so that your call, so that your claim, if you like, is valid. You must be in work. And I think Kai brought up a good point before, that he has an acquaintance that isn't in work because of mental health issues. He would like to be in work, but you have to be in work and you have to be a UK taxpayer. This is the deal with access to work. Am I right, Graham?
Yes.
Yeah. So have
you,
your tax number ready, because then you're ready. But very much as Graham said, when I phoned up to say I work at home, I am self-employed, but I am deaf, what do you need? Well, I don't know what I need. And I find that a real conundrum, that you're applying to access to work because you know you're not coping because of a disability, and then you're asked what you want when you don't know what you want. So what you said, Graham, was very helpful, to just say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, and then do the research later. Get your application in. And what I presented for my evidence of my deafness was a logbook which the hospital give you to get batteries for your hearing aid. I took a photograph of my logbook. That was my evidence. And I was allowed a telephone with a speaker on. So that's very helpful. But I don't get any help now because I'm a volunteer, so I'm not paid. I don't pay tax. So that's gone. So that's my advice, Donna, is be aware that you must be in employment, you must have a tax code, and I'm right in thinking that if you can apply for access to work, if you are going for an interview.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue. Pat, anything to add on the back of that, what the Sues have just shared?
It's helped me an awful lot because I didn't know some of it. I think the worry is, and I think this has come out in a couple of things tonight, it depends on the person at the end of the phone you get, how skilled they are, how helpful they can be, and guiding you. If you don't actually know what to tell them, they should be guiding you, not turning you down just because. And that's scary. And I go, the other ladies who run helplines will know people are very anxious when they come to us in the first place. If we pass them on to the next place and they don't get the help, it's just knocking these people back time after time when it should be straightforward. It's there to help people to work, not to cheat. Because some come back and say, I just felt I was cheating and I didn't want to talk to them. So it's been helpful to hear the positive side of how this can and should work to keep people doing worthwhile jobs that they want to do with a little help that can be brilliant. And I think we just need to go down. I will certainly be in touch with Graham because I think, again, like in this world, if we all join up and we all know what we're doing together, we can help more people.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. Absolutely brilliant message, I think, to end the conversation on. This is why we wanted to do it this evening. The tech is not beating us, guys. Even though we've had tech issues, we still wanted to go on with this conversation because it's so very important. So we will end the recording now. Please know, those of you who are listening to the recording, you are not on your own. So please do reach out to the local associations, to NATTC. There's lots of organisations out there that can support you. We hope you found it useful though. And yes, please do keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sue, have you managed to stop the recording?
So,
Thank you. So
This
can
is the techie bit that we always don't like very much. Do we think we stopped the recording, Sue?
I'm trying.
Oh.
Well, Graham's the turkey expert. How do I do this, Graham?
Have you hit where the 3 dots are at the top, Sue?
Yeah.
And then it says record and transcribe, and it should offer you stop recording.
Yeah.
And you've pressed stop.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.